So I'm very excited to have the director, the creator of Boondock Saints here with us today, Troy Duffy.
Yeah, Rabbi.
Troy, thank you so much for joining us on the show today. I am ecstatic that your film is being re-released to theaters. This is crazy.
Yeah, it's actually being released for the first time after 25 years, man. And it's really cool to be pairing up with iconic events here to do this because fans have never gotten the chance to see it in theaters, man. Oh, you guys got to
Here it is
with our graphics and everything.
That's right. So tickets, I already bought my ticket.
Oh, hell yeah.
I am going November 7th and 10th only. I personally also love these event things. It's one night only because the theater's always packed because it's limited, you know?
Yeah, but that kind of mass experience is something that, it was really odd because there was a 10-year anniversary and I snuck into one of the theaters in LA and it was just, it was packed, right? It was people like sitting down in the aisles. And when the prayer came up, the whole audience recited the prayer in the dark. And I was just looking around going, oh, I mean, that was like sort of your indie film, moment of holy crap, wow, that was weird and cool at the same time. So, yeah, we're going to be in about 500 theaters across the U.S. And after 25 years, very few fans have gotten to see this. And this is really going to be the first time. I mean, when we first came out, it was right when Columbine happened. So we were blacklisted from U.S. theater screens. And what happened was myself and Blockbuster, because we made the Blockbuster deal as a straight-to-home video, we four-walled a couple theaters, one in Hollywood and one out in Waltham, Massachusetts, which is a college town, BU's there. And that one made 38 grand in, I think, 4 weeks. And if you do the numbers, like a tiny release back then would have been, say, 1,000 theaters. If 1,000 theaters in college towns performed in the exact same way, that would have been 38 million. So we ran to the producers and financiers and was like, guys, this may look like a failure, but look at these. Everybody can do math in the room. And they knew it. And then Blockbuster really wasn't going to back off on their rental window unless they decided to put some actual oomph into it. And no matter how hard we tried, man, they just wouldn't budge on it. And that was the first complaint of all fans. They were like, you guys in Hollywood finally make something we want to see, and you don't put it in theaters. The first 100 conversations I had with fans, that was it, They were just super pissed. And but now we get to see it.
Well, speaking of fans, we have 2,500 people watching live on YouTube right now. We have questions from our audience, but I have questions for you. Boondock Saints was really a moment in time, right? Like the time in which it was made and the story behind, the movie has become legendary, but the story behind the movie is also legendary. How it got made, and then the documentary Overnight. I don't know if you have comments about that. I think every aspiring filmmaker should see that doc. I want to ask you about the beginnings, getting the movie made, and then also about the doc Overnight, what your thoughts are on that.
Okay. Just to throw something in here. Do you know that those kind of biopics they're doing now? They just did one on The Godfather. Yeah. They tracked that producer. I loved that when I watched it. And we may be doing some kind of biopic on me and Boondock Saints, where I'm the guy that worked at the bar and then did all that stuff. So we're having those talks right now. It's endlessly funny to me.
It's kind of a fairy tale story. Would you mind recounting it because not only do you have your old fans, you're going to have newer fans that discover this movie. It's one of those discovery movies, right? It's getting the big, limited theatrical. So that the basics of that story, I'd love to hear you tell it.
Yeah, I was just a, bartender bouncer, moved out to LA to be in a band. I'm looking around, forming a band. My brother comes out, we form our band, which was eventually signed with Atlantic Records. We ended up doing some of the music on the film. But I'm just working as a bartender, and I decided to write a script just because I was like, I could probably do that. I was like every writer, I could do that. So I'm writing on notebooks at the door and then transferring it to a computer. I just borrowed a buddy's script to get the format right, make it look like a script. And then one of my friends was working at New Line Cinema. And then it just started a forest fire in Hollywood. I guess it was a very different experience, these agents and stuff reading this. So there became this kind of they were all hot to get me, UTA, CAA, William Morris, who I eventually went to, but they were all kind of trying to get me, courting me. And then the two biggest indie houses, that would be New Line Cinema and Miramax, got into a bidding war over it. So that's Mike DeLuca and Harvey Weinstein offering me the world over and over again. This is like this kind of whirlwind thing. I'm still actually jerking drinks behind the bar while this is all going on. And, DeLuca offered me a Harley Davidson. I've been a biker my whole life. We got to talking one day, and Harvey offered to buy the bar, and me and him split it. So obviously I went with Miramax. But that didn't end up working out so well because, Harvey and I kind of came to disagreements and blows right away. He had this kind of stable of actors that he wanted to work with. I wanted some no names on this. Eventually found Norman Sean. I wanted to make a real independent film that wasn't like some star's way to recapture his street cred,
Right.
So I found the guys that I wanted, and he just wouldn't cast them. So he put me in Turnaround. Another film company picked it up, and off to the races we went with probably like less than half what I think 15 million was what Harvey was offering at this level, 10 million at this level. Sort of 15 million is if he got to cast it, 10 million if I did, which he just kind of bummed out of. And I did it for 6 with another small indie startup company. That's the biggest, is the biggest nutshell you guys have probably ever heard. That was a lot of work, but it got complex.
The documentary Overnight, I don't know if I've ever heard your thoughts about the doc, but I think for anyone that has like their impression or dream of what the industry really is, and then how it actually works in real life and all the egos and personalities involved. I don't know what you think of that doc. I think it's absolutely amazing.
All
What are
right.
your
Well,
thoughts?
I'm gonna burst your bubble because like, you ever invited some of your boys over the house to like maybe make a deck or a tree house for the kids?
Sure.
And they're all your friends and everybody loves each other, but within 20 minutes you're arguing about, what kind of fasteners to use, if we have to pour foundation or not, what materials are we going to bet? That's basically what Overnight was. The kicker was everybody thinks it's my documentary that I made that. Like who would do that to themselves?
Right.
Their idea. These two friends of ours, they came to us and asked us all, and we all said, okay, great, do your thing. It's your little piece of the pie. And then, fasteners and foundations over a 4-year period of us, being their kind of topic and filming us and all the kind of heartache and trials and tribulations of it. The relationship just soured, and these guys disappeared with their footage. They already had releases on most of us, and put this thing together, and I didn't watch it for years because I figured, everybody told me it was bad. There was one beautiful day, opened the LA Times entertainment section and saw my stupid face there. And it was something like, the biggest a-hole in the in the movie business. Meet Troy Duffy, the biggest a-hole in the movie. I knew what they did. They got really, the whole thing was sour grapes. But then I did watch it years later. And by the way, about the most boring, and watching yourself for 2 hours is not something I'd recommend. And I realized exactly what they did. That was all, I mean, the mistakes I think that they made was if they had like there's still people with questions, big questions. How did you lose your deal at Miramax? That wasn't answered there. What happened here, there, and all? You have all these big questions, and now it's become this kind of film school thing, right? Kids are learning from this, and there's probably some lessons in there, I guess.
Yeah.
But knowing what I know, I knew what the truth was, and I just saw how they kind of skirted it all the time, for purposes of sensationalism, rather than telling a real story, which is what a documentary is supposed to be. God is the director of a documentary, isn't that what they say? So it's not that truthful. Can you get some stuff from it? Yeah. When you're in this business, does it kind of change you and bring out the beast sometimes? For me, it did in a lot of ways, but they never showed all the good stuff. I ultimately got my movie made the highest grossing cult classic, which spawned a sequel and is now having a 3. Some good stuff must have happened. I got it done in a big way. So it's not the most truthful thing in the world, but I blame myself. That was all me. So crow, eat. I could have, either been better about handling that situation or never had it done, never let it rise at all. But I was asleep at the wheel in that aspect, and I had so much to do in this one, right? I got to cut an album. I got to make a movie. I really don't have time for your documentary crap, So, yeah, there was a lot going on.
I'll say I never had any illusions that the doc was true, but I will say this: it has a great poster. The poster is really cool.
It's odd though that you would say that. I never really had any problems with the doc not being true. That's why we watch documentaries,
right?
To get the real truth behind the scenes.
Yeah, but that poster is really kick-ass. It's great. With the camera. I love it.
Great visual.
We've got 2,500 people watching the interview live now. We have questions for you, if you don't mind taking questions from our audience.
Sure.
Fire away. Here we go. Alan, if you'd help me out here.
Sure. Albert, not a retro for 2. Any filming in Toronto again?
Yeah, the films, I basically sold Boondock to Thunder Road, and I'm off going to do other things. One of them is I'm going to be writing a book series based on Boondock Saints Volume 1, should be coming at you anytime now. But I basically sold the rights to Thunder Road, who are essentially the action franchise kings of Hollywood. There's the guys that did John Wick, Sicario, some of the biggest action franchises out there. So they're handling it right now. They want to do a 3, 4, and 5 and take it to sort of the next level. So, fingers crossed on them. If they film in Toronto, I'd be surprised. I mean, I'm the small guy. I can only get, it's $6 million for my budget in my first, 8 for my second, and I was with a studio at the time. I could have used another 18 million to do that. But these guys, they got access to A-level talent for all the other new roles. I've already written the script. So that's probably the longest answer you ever heard for will you be filming in Toronto. But I don't suspect that, because I'm obviously also producing Boondock 3, and the way they're kind of bringing in these writers to rewrite the script in a certain way. So my guess is no, and you will probably be surprised at where they are filming.
Is there much? I mean, what's your experience now compared to when you were making it back in 1999? You must be having a better time with it. Let's put it that way.
Oh yeah, once you, it's like getting on the old bicycle. But the biggest question I get from fans is, what else you got? You did this really successful thing, little indie. You film, you create a franchise. What else you got? So I'm diving into that now. But yeah, Boondock has always just kind of been there in my life in lots of ways. in terms of even just kind of getting recognized for it in public, and and working on the book, which I got to say is about the most freeing process ever.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah, sorry.
you got to go shut the oven.
That was me.
We'll take it.
I was on a retro for Ted. Could you find a part for Jason Priestley since he laid out Weinstein at the Golden Globes after party? I'm sure Chris knows about it. Jason's probably a friend of his. Everyone is a friend of his. LOL.
Yeah. I actually hung out with Priestley back in the day. We had a bunch of friends in common. Been at little parties with him and everything. I didn't know that he laid out Harvey Weinstein. When was that?
Oh, I don't know that story. By the way, iconicreleasing.com/events. If you go there, you can get the tickets right there. We'll provide a link in the description to this. I want to just show that website right there. A lot more questions here. I don't know. We'll get through as many as we can here. Here we go.
All right, ADL's 24. What are your honest thoughts about not being able to get a third film into production, the series being taken out of your hands, and a streaming series being in development?
Yeah, all right. We got some bad info in there. What are your thoughts about not being able to get the third film into production? That's Thunder Road. They're getting it into production. They're aiming for March, August of 26 to start filming. The series being taken out of your God, the question just disappeared, guys. Get that back up on screen.
I lost it. All
right. Well, the series the series. I'm suspecting they're talking about the television series. Here's an interesting one for your audience. I was staring down, this is about maybe a year ago. I was staring down the pipe at two deals. One was a television series deal for Boondock Saints, which I had been trying to get for 10 years. And Universal Television wanted to do it. So I'm negotiating that while negotiating with Thunder Road to do the movie deal. Now, at some point, I have to tell them about each other. When I did, they both insisted I dump the other deal. And I was like, why? The television deal takes place in present day. That'll be two new, young, 20-year-old brothers. That series can go on its own forever. And the movies can go on their own in their world. But they wouldn't have it. So I had like Sophie's Choice to make there. And I ultimately chose, one of the straw that broke the camel's back was me referring back to the very first lesson I learned in this business. When you are lucky enough to have a fan base and they're telling you what you want, you do it 100% of the time, or you're screwed. So I was like, all right, as much as I want to go and do this television show, because that was my involvement from top to bottom. I'd have been writing episodes with my own writing table. Showrunners wanted to do it, directing episodes. And I turned my back on that because of that first lesson I learned in the business, and gave the fans what they want, because what they want is those two boys in peacoats killing bad guys. That's it. So, ultimately, I'm like walking around for 2 weeks staring at the heavens, wanting God to tell me what the hell to do here. And it just dawned on me one day, you gotta give them their 3.
Here's a question here from Solomon Thornton. Love Boondock Saints. Sir Troy, you're now a knight. Any advice for beginning filmmakers?
Why, yes, my son. I would say filmmakers and writer-directors, like if you are a writer, read as much as you can. Know what good storytelling and characters are, because that's all you've got. It doesn't matter if you got $100 million and every star in the world. That story and character is bad, it sucks. So if you're a writer, read. Really know what you're doing when it comes to that. If you're a filmmaker, yeah, I never went to film school or studied cameras or anything like that. The strange thing about it was one of my buddies was a cinematographer, Adam Kane, and he shot the first thing I ever directed, which was a music video for my band, and then he shot Boondock 1, right? And we just kind of I was like, it needs to be about this big. Maybe this close, and I want the camera moving this way. And he just was able to track all my things and know what kind of equipment he needed to pull it off. So I think if in terms of filmmaking vision, you have to be able to see that in your head and then look through that lens and know if it matches, and don't stop till it does. Also, get some real good time and money are your two limiting factors in independent film, and you don't have much of both. Make sure those actors, you got to go through table reads. You got to talk to them beforehand. Most of the takes of the brothers in Boondock 1 were one take, because we had to move on, and get our days. They had a director standing by to replace me. You know that?
Oh, wow.
They make a deal with you, like, if you don't make your days, we're going to put some 6-gun slinger in there that will shoot your movie. He was gone after about a few days because the set really just did kind of gather around me. We were getting some awesome stuff, and those people kind of really knew it, right?
Benjamin says, question, what are your thoughts on Norman Reedus' success, and what are some of your favorite films of the last few years?
My thoughts on Norman's success are, congratulations, brother. I'm glad I could help. But yeah, one of the biggest privileges of being a director is finding new talent and facilitating it. I love that. Look at what David Del Rocco did in Boondock 1, how he became that favored character. No one had ever seen those guys before. So yeah, proud papa in a way. And love the fact that, Norman has gone on to become probably isn't he the biggest TV star in the world at this point?
Yeah.
Got to be, right? Or up there
Yeah.
somewhere. What was the second part of that question?
Your favorite films of the last few years.
The last few years. Yeah, there's not. That's an interesting one, because, you'll Netflix it, and 9 times out of 10, you're just trudging through a gray cesspool of crap, and then you suddenly see something awesome. Peaky Blinders. I love Peaky Blinders. Oppenheimer was good last year. Loved that. Terms of indies, we haven't really seen much over the last few years, have we? I think it's getting really it's more like a niche market of indie horror films, which I don't really get off on indie horror.
Right.
Yeah. Next question.
Aran Sharman says, Willem Dafoe looked like he was having a blast playing Paul Smecker. How was it working with him? Did he bring any personal touches to the character that weren't originally in the script?
Yeah, he had a blast the whole time. So did I. And working with him is almost like two kids playing in a sandbox. Willem never grew up. Some of the greatest actors in the world still have that their inner child is only an inch away. Did he bring any personal touches? Yeah. He and I were messing around one day, and the whole river dance thing he did, we added to the script. I had my construction guys, the set makers, make this kind of sunken ovular couch. I was ripping off one of my favorite indie films from back in the day, Highlander. And he was just walking along the top of it. I saw him kind of do a little skip in his step, and I was like, what if you danced? What if you did that in the scene? And he goes, that would be totally inappropriate. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, ooh. So we adjusted the scene, made up the dialogue right there. Kind of makes me feel like river dancing. And the way it played for the audience was insane, because he says, kind of makes me feel like river dancing. And you're like, is he going to do it? Is he going to actually do it? And then when he did, and I kept it in there in editing, I'm like, that's gold right there. So yeah, that would probably be one of the only ad libs we did in Boondock.
Another question from Benjamin. My cat is lying here and she wants to know, why did the cat have to die?
Because cats are nothing but the surveillance drones of the devil. That's why.
I love that answer.
A lot of truth to that. Yeah.
From Joe Chapman. What was it like working with Billy Connolly as a Scot? I want to see it for him and loved it instantly. Thanks.
Billy Connolly's the best. He's one of the best human beings I know. I call him Dad. He's like a surrogate father to me. We just we did this 25th year thing. He unfortunately he's come down with ALS, and he's been having a hard time of it lately. He came out to LA to do like some show and announce it, and he came up for tea at the house. Met my daughter when she was just born, and but he did this live filming so he could talk to the fans. We were doing this 25-year anniversary celebration. But I love the man. Working with him was the best. And one of my favorite stories is there's this scene where he throws open his trench and he's got a leather vest with 6 guns on it, and he has a gunfight with his own sons without knowing it. And they all actually shot each other. And that was an intense thing to film, especially on a low-budget independent. You got to have a car there, all squibbed up. He was squibbed up because he took a hit. All those guns were loaded with live round dummies that made muzzle flares. That was quite something to get on film, and a difficult shot. We were preparing for it all day, and then by the time it came time to do it, he's over there all loaded up doing a comedy show for the people in the neighborhood we were shooting in. And I go up to him and I'm like, Billy, it's time to shoot this thing. And he goes, hang on a second, dear boy. That's what he used to call me, dear boy. Or that's what he still calls me. He goes, I'm doing me set. And he finished off another few minutes of making these people laugh. And he had a cigar going. So I was like, nah, keep it in scene. Just go, if you can do this whole thing with a cigar, great. But yeah, filming with Bill, he's one of my favorite human beings on the planet. I love him dearly. And doing a movie with him is about the funnest damn thing ever. And I don't think there's a single person in the cast and crew that wouldn't agree with that. He's one of a kind, man.
From Chelsea M. Good afternoon, Troy. Did you always have Norman and Sean in mind? Were there other actors you were considering for the roles?
Yeah, considered Mark Wahlberg. Considered a bunch of them, and even some movie stars wanted those roles. But I didn't know Norm and Sean. We found them through the casting process, which kind of had its ups and downs. But I basically told my casting director, Laura Kennedy, I'm like, I want fresh new faces for this. This isn't one of those projects where a star comes down to retain his street cred. I didn't want anybody going into the theater with any baggage on them whatsoever, man. I wanted new faces. That's why Della Rocco. That's why Reedus. That's why Flannery. But no, I found them through the casting process. I still have this thing to this day that she might have played me, because one day all these pictures. I mean, you can imagine how many new young actors that have never done anything want those roles, especially if they're reading in the trades that Harvey Weinstein bought this guy a bar. They're actually making this movie and he wants no names, And I found Norm and Sean's pictures right next to each other. And for some reason, their headshots looks very similar. So that's why them. But an interesting story for your listeners, maybe. Heath Ledger wanted one of the roles of the brothers very badly. 2 times I came home and found him asleep on my doorstep, right? And I loved him. So he was with CAA at that time. He'd only done like 10 Things I Hate About You. It was kind of a teeny bopper type movie. I saw right away. Yeah, he was an Aussie, so he could do the Irish accent like that. And I loved him. So I went over to CAA and I was like, do you have anybody else like Heath that could convincingly play his brother? Long story there, but yeah, I liked him a lot. And, I thought, well, we'll work together someday, because when I found Norm and Sean, that was it. I just I took him down to the bar. I had the guys meet him, and all the guys were like, yep, that's them. Everybody knew.
Albert, not a retro for two, says Weinstein Priestley was 1995. So thank you for that clarification. And a question here from Matthew Hammond for $4.99. Do you know why we are missing $20 to $40 million budget films in the market, like the first John Wick movie? Movies that should be 40 million somehow cost 100 million. I mean, Hollywood budgets are out of control, but smaller indies, I don't know why they're not,
Yeah.
Yeah. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah. I mean, the movie business has taken a huge hit, man. There's been a lot of changes just since COVID and since all this woke business. There are different things being chosen to be being made for completely different reasons than in the past. That's almost why. I mean, did you guys see how well the sequel to what the hell is it? Maverick, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see, that just swept everything. I think it did like $1 billion in business because that's the movies we want to see. They're making all the stuff that we don't really want to see. Some of it's okay, some of it's good, but most of it's bad because you can't make, in my opinion, in my world, you don't make an artistic decision based on a completely erroneous thing. You don't say, I'm going to make a movie about golf because golf is hot now. It's the way to make a shitty movie is what that is. So the reasons they're making things now are all a lot of it are for the wrong reasons, which is why we're seeing so much kind of schlock out there. And those 20 to 40, it's amazing that question breaks my heart because the guy's like, oh, the $20 to $40 million movies. How come we're not seeing the small ones anymore? I made my first one for 6, my second one for 8. I didn't even get into that zone that he's talking about. I would have felt like, Steven Spielberg, bring the lobster on set every day for my cast and crew at $20 million. But yeah, those really aren't getting made now too. I suspect for the same reason. And look at the money they're pumping through. What was that? Maybe you guys can help out with it. What was that huge superhero movie where they brought in a bunch of new superheroes and they lost $200 million or something like that?
You mean all the last several superhero movies?
Yeah, pretty much.
The Marvels and
that one.
Madam Web. We go on. Like, what are your? Because I know you have to go. I don't know how much time you have, but
I'll hang out with you guys for longer. This is
all right. That's good. But I gotta ask you, what do you think about wokeness in Hollywood? I mean, are the seas changing? Are people realizing that audiences, general audiences, are not responding to wokeness? Which all I can say is this: I've seen a lot of small indie social issue movies for years. They've always been around, but now those ideas have kind of leaked into mainstream Hollywood. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, may you burn in hell for what you did to Star Wars. And continue to. That was sacrilegious, man. Yeah, it's creeping in there. I think it's a bad idea, but it's a bad idea for the most obvious reason in the world. You don't do something like that for some outside reason. You don't say, I'm going to make a golf movie because golf is hot. You don't say, I'm going to make the LGBT character because that's what's going on out there right now, and that's what people want to say. And then it starts leaking in on directors and writers that you're choosing. These reasons have nothing to do with art or creativity whatsoever. So it's obvious why it sucks. It's obvious why it's failing. It's just like it's taking the longest time to kill this thing. Certain brave actors are even coming out and going, this has to stop, guys.
Yeah.
Guys like Sean Penn and the guy that played the dude.
Jeff Bridges.
These guys are coming out and saying some of the greatest movies we've ever made could never be made right now.
It's shocking to me. Like, you can't make a simple movie that Blazing Saddles.
Yeah.
You can. Yeah.
One of my favorite. That's my favorite comedy of all time. Blazing Saddles. He rode a blazing saddle. Oh my God. That would never be made today. And even a guy like Mel Brooks would never be allowed today. Yeah. And isn't that a shame? We're shooting ourselves in the foot in the entertainment business, and it has to stop.
Yeah, it's really a shame to see. And you mentioned Star Wars, just that breaks my heart. We never got that scene with Han, Luke, and Leia reunited for another adventure. How do you make that decision? How do you make the choice to have Han Solo go out like a bitch?
I know. Oh my!
How would you have done it?
I could have fucking. Oh God, I'm so sorry.
No, go.
No, don't worry about that.
No, it's all good. We don't care.
Hopefully, it's later where you guys are.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, I could have killed him. These are the things that in several other brands too. You want to jump through the screen. It's like, have you ever had the feeling when you watch something like that that's so bad that you would have loved to have been a fly on the wall in the pitch meeting where they made that decision and thought it was a great idea?
I know.
I have that feeling all the time. I'm like, how did they make this colossal heap of horse crap? Because there was people all along the way that thought it was a great idea. Just one. Oh, we've solved the Rubik's Cube, guys. The fans will love it. Meanwhile, the janitor going by was like, nope, that sucks.
I feel it's common sense. What we're seeing Hollywood burn, and all the bad decisions are common sense. I feel like your next job could be just running Hollywood. You should just do that.
Yeah, I know a couple of indie-minded guys could do some real damage right now by creating that company that guy was talking about, doing the smaller films, I think.
Yeah.
They're simply not letting you, and anyone that even makes a smaller one. Like I saw this one recently. It was here's a good film. It was Colin Farrell and his buddy. They were on the island, and he was like,
Banshees of Inisherin.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
And nobody would help that film and release it. You know, that was a really good movie. And they were like, no, screw you. That's great.
But I think Hollywood has lost touch with common, regular audience. And also, they've turned their back on the working class and blue collar workers. If you think about it, Star Wars is about a war veteran, space trucker, and a farmer. You know what I mean? Think about it.
I've never heard it put so well.
But it's simple, like the stories from movies from the 70s that I know you love.
Yeah.
I mean, we were talking about Clint Eastwood earlier in the show. I mean, he did a whole series of movies. He's a trucker with a monkey. I mean, those movies are great. The blue collar stories.
Right turn, Clyde.
Yeah, Clyde the orangutan. But I mean, they have lost, and even Tarantino has said, film itself is a blue collar, art form. It's a couple dollars to go see a movie. It's gotten too expensive, and they don't tell stories that appeal across the board. So I don't know what you think about that, but it's really sad as a lifelong lover of cinema.
Yeah, it kills me. It rips my heart out and puts it in a blender every time I see it. That's one of the reasons I loved Maverick so much. I was like, I hoped at that time, at that exact moment, I was like, they have to know now, right?
Yeah.
They have to see this. Look, they've created this. They've starved us for so long that people gorged on it when they finally found something they loved. I thought that was going to change it back, like every studio head would go in and go, all right, no more of this crap, guys. We're going back to basics. But it just won't die.
Yeah. We got a quick question here. Maybe you can answer from Jimmy Francis. Amazing, big fan of the film since a lot of years back. Will we in the EU have a chance to eventually see the film in theaters as well?
You may, Jimmy Francis. We got the U.S. and Canadian rights, so we're doing our release in the U.S. and Canada. Hopefully, we're trying to work out Canada right now, but we're working with, because once you sell your film, like a bunch of different companies in a bunch of different countries control those rights. So hopefully, like what's going to happen with this U.S. release for our 25th year on November 7th and 10th, finally seeing Boondock in theaters, is it'll be a beacon for all the other countries. Like, hey guys, come to us. Let us make the rights deal, and we'll do this in your country. Because frankly, I mean, there's over 100 countries that Boondock was distributed in. All we have to do is find out who the rights holders are in each one of those countries and make similar deals. I would like nothing more than to jump on a plane with Rocco and go to the UK or something, or Ireland or Germany, and hit a theater there while it's being released around the country, because they never really got to see it either, in theaters anyway. Yeah. And it's had the same kind of cult classic effect that it's had in North America all over the world. That my audience grows every year more and more.
Jimmy Francis, for 50 Swedish krona. We have an international audience here, Troy. Okay. A big fan of the film, such a unique script. Had you already developed a writing style before you did it, or did the film define your style?
Jimmy Francis. Okay. Is it the same guy? You like the same guy? Yeah, asked 2 questions. Well, that was the first script I ever wrote. So, yeah, I guess I was just like discovering what my style was. And Boondock did define it, but that's just kind of the way I read a lot. I hadn't had a writing style before that because I hadn't written anything. But yeah, I discovered it as it just kind of came out naturally. As Boondock was the first script I ever read, and I was just more of an avid reader than anything else. And I also just, it was like you watch a movie and you're like, I could probably write one of these. So I did.
Here's another question from Aid Ellis 24. As a musician, what are your thoughts on music videos as an art form in modern culture? And why haven't you directed more of them?
Yeah, I directed 2. One was for my own band. It was called the song was Two Ravens. It's the first thing I ever directed. And I love them as an art form. They're amazing. It's a nice single theme topic for that sacred 3 to 4 minutes. It's a little mini movie. I think they're great. The second one I directed was for a couple of buddies of mine. This guy, Chris Flores, found a new artist, and my buddy Slash, he was playing the guitar on the track. So I directed a music video for this new young artist named Bang, and Slash was in it, and we were friends anyway. So yeah, and it was real cool, man. I had burning angels live and people on a geodesic dome hanging off, and got, I think, one of the more phototasmic Slash solos. It was funny. He was on a circular rail on a dolly. Behind him was this huge rust angel, flame shooting out of it while he was doing it. So the whole thing's going around inside a geodesic dome. And it was really cool footage. So like you can kind of show off too on music videos. Love them as an art form.
Unfortunately, we have to wrap up. Although I love the fact that you gave us a quick tour and you're drinking beer during an interview. I love this. People are very excited. You're drinking beer. What do you got? What is it? This
is Labatt's. This was left over from Toronto.
That's a legit beer. Labatt's Brew is legit.
It's moose piss, but it's Canadian. So every now and then I like to get some nostalgic on.
Yeah, people are loving it.
You guys caught me drinking live. That's great. That's great. I look forward to all the other live podcasts that'll let me do that. Weren't you the guy that caught drinking on Film Threat?
Troy, I can't thank you enough for spending all this time with us. This is a blast. I'm telling you, you should run Hollywood. All the mistakes we see as the industry burns, it's common sense. Common sense is somehow lost. People care more about making decisions about how they look rather than like what is actually true. Like you mentioned, Top Gun Maverick, being such a huge hit, yet no lessons were learned. Even Spielberg said to Tom Cruise, "You saved the industry." He was caught on a mic talking to Tom Cruise. You saved the industry with this movie. Brought people back to theaters.
Yeah, Hollywood's the only place on earth where they don't listen to their own fans. It's like they know that we're who they get all their money from. We watch their shows. We pay for the movie theater. We buy the DVDs. They know that, and they don't give a shizer video about any of it, right? These guys kind of get to the point where they're so powerful that they just think that whatever thought they have is the right thing to do, you know? When the dude driving their limo could probably turn around and go, no, bro, that's a dumb idea. Doing that to Han Solo, that's the dumbest idea I've ever heard. You're the guy driving the limo would point it out.
Have you heard this term toxic positivity, where people only say nice things? You've had this happen before, where people blow smoke up your ass, and you don't want to hear that. You want to hear the truth. You want to hear the truth about things. And I feel like no one in Hollywood, everyone's nice to each other, but you know they're full of shit. You probably learned that early on.
Do you have any idea how many conversations with I didn't know where you were going that, but toxic positivity just means you're now in a fake situation and having a fake conversation.
Bingo.
It's the people that come up to you and go, oh my God, I love your work. Such a big fan. You're like, you have no idea what it's that fake veneer that's kind of always been on Hollywood. One of the reasons I was able to do what I did in the business is because I could cut through it like a knife most of the time, you know, and just show them that you're a real person and you know that they are, and communicate on a one-to-one level. And they always kind of walked away almost like, wow, you know, there's somebody here that's a real person that says what they actually think and feel, and it all sounds pretty damn good. You know, being sort of the black sheep of the business there for the first few years actually got me a little further ahead, because that person that tries to be fake with you leaves kind of confused, but that he thinks about it and goes, maybe this is who should be doing movies, you know? And by the way, I'll be on your podcast anytime. We should do this. I'm going to call you guys when I'm doing my next things.
Yes.
I'm going to call you and we're going to talk about them.
Please come back. I want to introduce you to my friend Gary Beekler from Neurotic. He's a huge fan of yours. I'll talk to your people. Want to get you on his show.
Oh,
got to get you on, because this is amazing.
Friend of yours, friend of mine. I'm going to call him up right after this and say, Duffy's doing your.
I will. Okay. I'll do that. Matthew Hammond for $4.99. We need movie makers as studio executives, not business or finance guys that do not watch movies. One of the things that we hear over and over, the people in charge of making movies don't understand movies. They've never made them personally. You know, they're not. They don't love movies. To be involved in this business, you have to love movies. What do you think to Matthew Hammond's comment?
Absolutely agree, but they'll never let it happen. These guys have business degrees.
Right.
Studio heads and stuff. These are lawyers. So when they come in and they start running things, they're just like, they're smarter than everybody else, and usually they are. But when it comes to the creative, you would be shocked at how little they actually know about what they're making. I was at dinner with a guy, and I'm like, oh, so you're making this new thing over here? And he's like, really? Oh, yeah. Had no idea, right? I'm like, you're pouring like $50 million into this thing. And he's like, it was the other guy. They sort of have this almost unbelievable quality to them, where they're, on the one hand, you know, they have their vanity projects that they want to do that they know very well, that all sound like crap, by the way.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, they have projects that their people are doing. These skilled producers over here that we've given offices on the lot, but it's their money they're spending. You know, if I'm a studio head, and this little production company over here, run by this terrific pair of producers who have made some very successful doesn't matter. I know everything about that project, how much money's being spent. how much of the studio cash is being spent and how good it is. And if it sucks, I don't care what you've done in this business. We're done with that. Moving on to something that's actually good. How about that? How about that for a new thing? Let's make something good, guys.
Yeah.
Should open up a new studio.
Good
studio, good movies, studio lot.
Troy, I hate to.
Film Threat. That would be a good name for a studio.
Film Threat is a good name for a studio. Yes. You know, we've made a few films in our day, but yeah, Troy, it's just been an honor to have you on here. I'm sorry to. We have we're doing another interview actually.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
All right. So haven't we tried to say goodbye like 4 times now?
Yeah. It's an Irish goodbye. It's an Irish goodbye. You know, just kind of like.
All right, but I'll never forget you. Green clover, stars, blue diamonds.
I want to get you on my friend Gary's show, and we'll have you back to talk film. You are as no bullshit as I knew you were, and I think. You know, I just think we need more telling the truth about the business, because if you can't do that, it's going to continue to fail. You have to call out when something sucks.
It must be it must be crazy for you guys. I mean, do you have to
it
deal
is.
with the reason you're asking me all these questions is because you finally got somebody that'll answer them.
Yes.
I shudder to think how many times you've asked these to other dudes that are like, well, that's just the way, wokety woke.
Yeah.
It's just we're not the only ones. That's the thing.
Yeah,
it's good. It's good to see that other light in the darkness, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Walking towards, hey, what are you guys doing?
I just think everybody knows the woke shit is just a phase, but no one's willing to say, hey, we tried it. It's not working. You know, we're just,
but how long is this phase? Because a phase, it's a short, that's why they call it a phase.
Right.
It only lasts for a short time. This has now been going on for like 5 years at Full Tilt Boogie. And like we've been talking about, Maverick comes up, these other films come up that you think is going to, and it just won't die.
Yeah.
I think the 3 of us should get our shotguns, go out in the woods and find making that moaning sound and put it out of its misery.
Yeah. Troy, you are a legend. Thank you so much for joining us.
All right. Time number 5. We'll see if this one works.
Okay. We will thank
another question.
Big fan of your work. But thank you so much. We will have you. Knee pains for 2 says fake it until you make it is one of the problems. There are too many people faking it. Thank you, Knee Pain. We will have you back, and I'll reach out to your people. And no bullshit here. Get your tickets. They are on the website. I put it in the link.
It's iconic.
Get your ticket.
Releasing.com, I think. And you
November 7th and 10th. We got the link in there. Look it up. Troy, you're a legend. Finish that beer. Come back. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you know what? Next time we should do the drunken podcast.
We'll do a drunken podcast.
We'll do all 3 of us drinking Labatt's. We're doing a commercial for a free commercial.
Canadian beer, thanks.
Canadian beer. All right, guys.
Thank you.
Have a great night, and thank you so much.
All right, it's gonna hurt to hang up. It's gonna hurt to hang up.
All right.
I miss you both already.
We'll talk.
All right. Take care, Troy. We love you.